And we off with it. Peace. What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to season 2 of the Heard You Beloved podcast by Eric J. West. Yep, I took a break, a 6-month break at that. The last episode that came out was February 20th, I believe. And today is August 20th, excuse me. A day after my birthday. So I just turned 33 yesterday. 33 spins around the sun, or however they say it, right? And wow, look at me now, baby. A little bit of a weight loss. You can see it in my face. Experienced a couple things. Firstly, my grandmother died in March 2023. From February to now, I metaphorically lost a lot of people who I used to be close with. They didn't die physically, but these people are no longer a part of my life. I have come to an understanding that it's necessary to lose in order to win, or it's necessary for your foundation to rot in order for you to, grow some roots down into the ground and then come up like a new damn stem or base to a new seed, like a plant. With plants, when they start to die off of not getting enough water or the nutrients necessary or the sun necessary, the leaves start to die off. The flower itself, if it's a sunflower, a rose, or if it's a fruit or what have you, it'll die off and it won't make it to the other side. It'll just die off unless you cut some things off and allow the nutrients or energy to go to another place so that another part of the plant can grow. And that's what was necessary for me. Right? Y'all know that I'm still in my healing process from this basically 5 years of homelessness that I experienced. Y'all know that when you go through traumatic situations, you are in need of people who are closer to you, that you call family, whether or not they're kin to you by blood. You need people. But when people show you how worthless or valueless you are to them, pay attention to that. Don't ignore the signs. Don't convince yourself that you're crazy. Accept the reality of what it is that these people are showing you, that you mean nothing to them. And your relationship with these people are just transactional. As long as you're on their good side and you can do for them, you're the best of friends. They call you brother. They want you around them. They'll call you. They'll include you in things. When you are no use to them in terms of their own agenda and what they need of you, you're thrown off to the side. They'll discard of you like trash. That's the lesson I got in all this. But I'm not surprised by it completely, but it struck a little chord in the chest area. It was like, damn, they doing this to me? But it is what it is, man. You gotta accept things and move forward, which is what I did, how I did, and what was necessary. I didn't go to drinking. I didn't go to, going against everybody. Yes, I expressed myself the way I usually do, but it was different this year because of everything that had happened and the coping mechanisms I developed for myself and the change I wanted within myself in terms of how to deal with, hurt, pain, and trauma in life. Y'all know I used to drink heavy. Y'all seen me drunk by way of when I would go live on certain platforms, when my PTSD would be triggered. I done saw all this shit. You know I am an open book when it comes to everything that is E. I don't hide, I don't pretend, I don't fake. I am who I am. Consistent, clear, and transparent. But there's people in the world that will leech onto that reality just to get a little, to leech onto that energy of honesty, brutal honesty, clarity, being in tune with source. But it don't work out all the time, clearly. And for me, I dealt with what I dealt with how I needed to. And now we here, so we back. I know that was a long introduction, but let me get to the actual episode, which the title of this is, well, the word of the day is division. And you know how I do. Well, I got to get in the flow of things. I'm going to read off the definition. Webster Dictionary. Division means disagreement, disunity, something that divides or separates. Yeah, I'll just keep it at that. Something that divides or separates. Right. The reason I chose that word of the day or the topic of this particular episode is because that is the state of the world. That is where we are at. By design. It's not by mistake. Everywhere, social media, in terms of conversation, the collective consciousness of the black and brown community, we are so goddamn divided. That is sad. It is also funny to a person like me, where I see things for what it is. None of this is by mistake, beloved. If you go on social media platforms and you have conversations with human beings, and just to listen into where their consciousness is, it's clear that they are caught up in the matrix. I'll put it that way. They bit the bait. They eating this up. They eating it all up every day. It's about the gender wars, men against women. It's about these agendas, the LGBT agenda, the trans agenda, the agenda to feminize men, the agenda to the diaspora wars, let me say, right? People from the U.S. land who were born here, however that is, if you are Native American, Native Indian, if your ancestry, your lineage is from the foundation of America, where these people have an issue with people from the Central American diaspora, the Latin diaspora, and the African diaspora, the agenda to go against our children, the agenda in terms of spirituality, where people are questioning the Bible or whatever text reference you use in terms of your faith system, the Quran, the Bible, all the other texts that are basically the same book of stories. The political agenda is so much shit going on. The economic crisis, the housing crisis, the mental health crisis, the psychological and mental manipulation. There is grows of things going on in the real world. And these are the discussions we're having. The discussions we're having. The news ain't making it no better. Social media ain't making it no better. The TV shows is not making it no better. The church is not making it better. So where we going? Where are we actually going? Are you being somebody that's purposefully and intentionally shifting the narrative? Are you in spaces and surrounded by people who are talking about things that matter in terms of moving forward? Or are you just part of the problem to where you're biting the bait by the powers that be and you are sucked up in the matrix? Every day, day in, day out, you watching the same thing, you're consuming the same thing, you're watching the same news, you're having the same conversation, you're doing the same thing. This is autopilot vibes. And you just running with the program. Just going. Day in, day out, doing the same thing. Have y'all seen the movie Clone? They Clone Tyrone? Yeah, it's a movie. But pay attention to the messaging. There's certain things that you can watch and consume and just quickly pick up on a message and see why it is that things are made in terms of entertaining y'all. I don't do reviews on this podcast, none of that. But again, the purpose of this podcast is for what it is, right? For me to address things that happen in our communities. As a black man, as a Latino, a Central American, this is what we deal with. I don't compare myself to people who are European, Caucasian, or what have you. I don't compare myself to them people. Today in conversation, anytime somebody mentions, well, if you think about every other demographic of people or any other ethnicity, any other nationality, they don't XYZ. I don't give a damn about that. Because when we do this comparison thing, what the fuck, what are we doing for ourselves? That comparison, what the fuck is that doing? Is it helping us or is it hurting us? Because again, this episode is about the division. We are comparing ourselves to the enemy, which is those people who have made us their enemy first since the time our people got here to the U.S. in shackles. Since the time we were snatched up from Africa and dropped off where we were dropped off in the world. This country in particular made us the enemy. Look at what is happening, bro. There's a conversation about reparations for the people who have lineage to their ancestors being the ones that got dropped off here in the U.S. Right? There's so many things happening in the real world. The U.S. dollar don't mean anything anymore. The political agenda is what it is, and it's right in our damn face. They're doing what they're doing, and it's right in our face, and people are seeing it for what it really is. Again, where are we going? What are the conversations you're having with your people? Is it preparing you for something that's coming? Are these conversations you have with your people about crying and whining? Is your conversations about pointing the finger? Or are your conversations about putting your feet on the ground and getting focused for what's coming? Are your conversations about solutions? That's for you to understand, you to think about. Because for me, the conversations that I want to be having in the spaces I want to be in and the people I want to surround myself with is those who are preparing, who are standing 10 toes down who are looking forward, not behind, not so focused on what's just here right now. Because if you stay stuck in what's here, you are feeding into the system, beloved. You are eating the bait up. You eating it up. You eating it up. For us, we have to ensure that we are having conversations that's moving us somewhere, that we are in tune with people who are aligned with the source, with source or the most high, that we are around good energy, good, real, honest, good people, not these demonic forces or these evil spirited people who are here to manipulate and separate, or again, divide us. Pay attention, beloved. Pay attention. That's the one message I've been giving to all the people that I've spoken to on my live podcast on another platform. Pay attention, take care of yourself, and do what's necessary to make sure that you are in line in taking care of your body on all levels, physically, mentally, and spiritually, because it's needed. You see what's going on in the world? Pay attention. Just pay attention. This is not no doomsday type of conversation. It's just reality as to where we are. Right? I saw a clip from a podcast on a social media platform where there's two Hispanic brothers talking about how America is not the United States anymore. It's the divided states of America or of the world. The divided plates of the world. They spoke about 9/11, how when that happened, there was this energy of unity, right? Think about what happened in 2020 when the world was completely at a standstill. Everybody's stuck in their house. Nobody could move. Or there's the threat of you going somewhere, you leaving this plane. That was another phase of this energy of unity. But the way I talk about it is, think about how literally the day that the world opened up, George Floyd happened. From that time to now is 3 years later. Where's the state of the world? Where's the energy of the world? What does the state of the black community look like right now? The gun violence, the gentrification, state by state, the housing crisis, the fact that money is being put in spaces and places that is not important to the collective as far as us as melanated people in the US. Our programs or spaces of assisting our people are being disrupted on purpose. There's people on the streets. We are in a recession. People are starving. People are using things that is allowed now legally, that's adding or feeding into them losing their goddamn mind, because that's not clean green the way I say it. That ain't clean. Pay attention to people, bro. Listen. See the world for what it is. Listen to the energy of what people are talking about, how they think. It's interesting to see with these eyes, and all other eyes, ears, and everything else. It's just amazing because when you are the kind of person that knows how to sit back and listen for real, and connect dots, oh man, it feels like you in a simulation sometimes, but it's not that. It's just reality is smacking you in the face. Right? I know this episode seems a bit dark, I could say, just by the tonality of it, but it's reality, bro. We are so divided. We are not unified. People talk about it takes a village to raise a child. People talk about tribes and all this thing. Does the village still exist? Do people still have their tribes? Tribes that are helping them move forward and move towards the light or the good in the world? Are people doing what's necessary to be in alignment with the good things in the world? Or are you split in the middle, or more so on the dark side? I want y'all to think about that. See, I know I'm looking down because I got my flashcards to keep me in line. And I switched some things up because I got to get back in, basically back in alignment with this podcast. I feel like I went down my list and went through my normal things in terms of my checklist. And my episodes will be shorter. That's my goal, to keep my episodes damn near at a half hour. But yeah, man, that's it. Division. And actually, one more thing, right? I'm not blind to the reality that, yes, we are still neighbors, right? There's African Americans. There's people from Central America. There's people from Latin America. There's people from the African diaspora. There's people from the Middle East. There are people from Europe. There are people from China. There are people from Canada. There are people from all over the world who coexist in the U.S. If you live in a hood, whatever city you in, you could walk down 15 blocks. You're going to see a Jamaican restaurant. You're going to see a Mexican or Hispanic outside selling flowers. You're going to see a Chinese restaurant. You're going to see a liquor store. You're going to see a grocery store or corner store where people from the Middle East most likely are the ones behind the store, or people from the Latin diaspora are behind the counter, excuse me. You're going to see a Haitian restaurant. You're going to see different kind of shops, different kind of stores. We are all living and coexisting together, right? Which has always been the case. I'm from Harlem, born and raised. I live in Brooklyn now. In Harlem, the Mecca. All you see is black, blackity, black, the black, thicker, black people. And you see my people as well, brown people, Latinos, people from Central America, my neighbors, people from the Caribbean, and then us, who we actually are, Africans. We all living and coexisting. That's always been the case. But by way of me being in tune with different people in different spaces, I'm just paying attention to the energy in terms of the conversations, and also the reality that this division is by design. The chaos, the destruction, the toxicity that exists by way of social media and the news, more importantly, is by design. Dr. Umar has spoken about this. A lot of people in the conscious community have spoken about this for years. They've been talking about, pulling away from watching so much TV, pulling away from sucking up all the movies and staying addicted to social media and all these things, and being outside or touching grass, the way they put it today. Because what it does is it sits right here. It sits here. And that's in the forefront of your thought process. Everything else, everything, the outside noise. When in reality, if you take a step back from that, detach from the TV, the news, social media, you will see the good in the world. But nonetheless, on the flip side, all this noise is happening for a reason. It's by design. It's not by mistake. It's political. It's people allowing the division to happen by way of their own thought process and what they are allowing, kind of thing, right? But for me, I wish it wasn't the case. I wish people would pay more attention to the things that matter, and that we would get back to how we naturally are as African people or melanated people, which is in unison, operating in love, pushing forward our natural spirituality, and being a community at large. But we have failed because we are sucked up in the matrix. We got work to do, baby. We got a lot of work to do. And that's it. I'ma land there. Peace.